Ah, at last, I'm back in the workshop.
So dusty.
So splintery and dangerous. And this is my favourite time of year to be in the workshop, because all the plant pots that are normally here are now outside. So I've got all this free real estate back, which is great. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the workshop. It really is fantastic to have you here. And I haven't been here for quite a while either. I know we've been uploading videos on our new, hopefully every 2 weeks if I can still manage it, fingers crossed, schedule. But those videos were from a backlog of stuff that I'd filmed and not had a chance to upload yet. I've not actually been in the shed making anything for a few months now. Main reason for that is school, to be honest. It's exam season. I'm nearly done now, but I've thankfully got some free time so I can be back in the shed. But yeah, I've not been in here for a while, so I've missed this place. So as you know, a lot of the time I'm doing jobs in the shed that need doing here and now. So something's broken and it needs fixing, or an immediate task that needs my attention right there, right then. It's not very often that I get to make something from scratch just for fun, but I thought, no, I want to do that soon. So I have got up here a really cool project that I'm so excited to share with you. I think it's really going to stretch the limits of my capabilities, and I think that you're really going to enjoy watching it as well. But as with most things, to start the project that I want to get onto, I need a tool. And to use that tool, which I have got, I need to do some work to it. So in this video, hopefully this will be the last one before I start the new project, and today we are going to be talking about planes. This is a plane. This is a plane. Even this is a plane. But the one that we're talking about today is this plane. Okay, I'm going to have to do quite a lot of talking now, so please do bear with, but I'll do my best. So this plane I've inherited from my nanny, who unfortunately passed away in January of 2022. And I've had quite a lot of tools from her shed, this being one of them. So a plane is a tool that's used to remove shavings of wood, essentially like a big knife or a chisel, but the idea is that the blade is set at a consistent angle in all of the rest of the tooling here, so that it removes consistently sized shavings, and then it should create you a nice smooth surface on the workpiece rather than it being all jagged and uneven like if you were to do it completely by hand. I should also mention at this point that prior to making this video, I was aware of hand planes, but I didn't really know that much about them. So I went away and got myself a thorough education on them, by which I mean I watched 3 YouTube videos, which are all in the description below, and I found out all about them and how they work and the different companies. So hopefully I'm in a position now to inform you guys as well. And yeah, like I said, I'll put the videos in the description, so go check them out if you're interested. So the idea with this, in the long term, the far, far distant future when I've got enough time, would be to fully restore this plane. I'd really like to see it shiny, new, razor sharp, brand new, ready to go, in its former glory. But that would take a long time and probably a lot more tools than what I've got currently. So for the purposes of cracking on with that new project that I've been teasing you with in mentioning it in the description of previous videos and maybe on the Instagram, I want to just get this working for now, because like I said, I want to use it in the next project, but it doesn't work at the minute. It's blunt and it needs some work to it. So hopefully in this video we're going to get this thing functioning. What I think we're going to do then is I'll take it apart piece by piece and explain to you what the different bits do. We'll do a bit of a run through of how planes work. As I said, I was doing some research. I've got myself a printout which did just a fabulous job of printing. It's so readable. And I've got a diagram as well. Look how professional I am. An exploded diagram of all the components so I can show you all the bits of it, what they all do from my YouTube research, and we'll get it going, hopefully, get it shaving wood. Okay, so as I said, I think this is a Stanley. Now, what was the precise name of it? A Stanley Bailey pattern hand plane is this design of hand plane. That is with this component here, the iron being quite at a steep angle, the cutting iron, as opposed to some of the other types of hand planes that are available. Really basic function or bits of it are that this is the body, this cast piece here, this is the sole, there's a mouth here. You've got a rear handle, it's sometimes called a tote, and a front handle. Now to use this, you would hold the rear handle in your dominant hand and your non-dominant hand on the front handle. And if this was a piece of wood, you would run it along like this. And there is an iron, that's this one here, a plain iron, which protrudes just ever so slightly out through the mouth and takes off shavings of wood as you go and leaves you that nice flat surface underneath. So let's start taking this to bits. We're going to leave the front handle on because that's fine, it's not moving. For now we'll just leave it as it is, and we'll move on to this, which is called this is called the lever cap. So the lever cap essentially keeps tension on the iron, the chip breaker and the frog, which are all different components, and it does that by using this lever cap lock, which should flip and engage and disengage. So you'll see there it now wobbles, it's loose, but if I snap that back in position, it doesn't move. So that's squashing everything together and keeping that plane iron in position so that it makes those consistent cuts and doesn't wobble about. So that, when you engage the lock, pulls against this lever cap screw. So the first thing we want to do is disengage the lock, and then the screw should come undone. Now you only need to loosen it, I think, and then the lever cap comes off. So that's the lever cap, and underneath that, oh, another thing to mention, I don't mean to backtrack, this wants to sit as flat as possible. All of these components wants to sit as flat as possible on top of each other, so that when that lock is engaged and it's pulling on that screw, you get a nice even pressure against the frog here, and everything is held together nice and evenly. There's no points where everything's being pinched really tight and other bits where it's really loose. So that's the lever cap, and underneath you have the chip breaker, or the cap iron, and the cutting iron, or the plane iron. And they are screwed together normally with a screw underneath. You can see the top of it there, it should come up flush. And again, you can take that apart, hopefully. I'm not thinking actually, it does come out. We'll go that in a second, and you can see that they come apart. You can see now with the iron, what I was saying about this being a bevel down plane. The bevel, if anyone is unaware, you should be able to see that angled surface there pointing that way, because the material for the iron goes parallel like this, continuous thickness, continuous thickness. The bottom comes out and the top slopes down to it. That sloped surface is called the bevel. You get them on knives, you get them on axes, you get them on anything with a blade, really. So this being a bevel down plane, the bevel sits down. On a low angle plane, the bevel sits up. It's why it's called a bevel up plane, level up plane. And it would plane like this rather than like this. Now the chip breaker, although its name is probably quite self-explanatory, its purpose is to break the chips that come up through the mouth and over the blade. Now the plane iron has a slot machined into it. That's so that it can move up and down like this and protrude, like I said in my words, protrude further or less out of the mouth and take a deeper, more aggressive or a finer cut of the wood. And the cap iron has 3 holes in it. Now, the largest hole is in line with this larger opening in the slot on the plane iron, is to allow the lever cap screw to go through. The second hole here is for this little screw to hold the plane iron and the chip breaker together. And this square slot here is for the adjustment knob yoke, which is that little square pin there to sit in. I said about the plane iron being able to move in and out of the plane. The way we do that is with this knob here. If you can see there, this turns. You should be able to see that little red component there, which is riveted into the frog, which is this red bit here. That currently, as I move the wheel back, you should see is moving the yoke back. That in turn is moving this forward, that pin, that little square thing there. That's the end of the yoke. You should be able to see, is it moving back and forth ever so slightly? So that is pushing that yoke, and in turn, as that yoke is sat in that square opening in the chip breaker, is pushing the chip breaker and the plane iron forward, further through that mouth, exposing more blade, taking a deeper cut. If I remove the chip breaker and the plane iron again then, this will expose both the frog and the lateral adjustment lever. Now the frog, as I said, is a separate component, so we might as well take that off now. And this is essentially what, I don't know why it's called the frog, but it's what everything is mounted on. The lever cap, the iron, the chip breaker, everything. And it's held in with another 2 screws. hopefully not seized. Okay, get some lubrication. I did come and have a bit of a play with this a few weeks ago in anticipation of making this video, and I did take it apart a bit. I didn't take the frog off though, so clearly, of course, there's going to be one that's going to be stubborn. Let me try a bigger screwdriver. There we go. Removing the frog then, you can see the two screws that held it in place. Again, this is a cast component, and you can see there the body. There's the old chips from the last time it was used. We can also see what I'm guessing is a model number, and my favourite bit, the Made in England sign, cast in and everything. As a side note, there's just another screw here for the front knob, which we'll leave in place because it doesn't need to come off. The rear handle is held in with this screw here. You can see it's quite wobbly at the minute. And it's held in with a long old bolt there underneath. So I'm going to try and tighten that up, stop that wobbling around as much. So the frog, like I said, holds the lever cap, the plane iron and the chip breaker. The screws are there to hold that into position. There's also slots there, that's so that the frog can move forward and back slightly. You can see as well there the rest of the lever cap screw, which is quite long. It goes all the way in there. There he is. And the yoke that I was telling you about, which you can hopefully get a clearer view now of that lateral adjustment knob. So it's moving that pin, moving the chip breaker and the iron in and out. So that's moving the iron this way, out and in of the mouth, but we can also move the iron this way. Now, why would we want to do that? That would be to take a deeper cut on one side. One side of the blade digs in more and takes a sort of angled, shaped cut rather than a straight, flat one. So the lateral adjustment lever moves just like this, left to right. Again, it's riveted in place and just uses friction to move that blade when it's sat on top here, because that rounded section of the lever there sits snugly into that slot and moves, twists everything, swivels, makes it take a deeper cut on one side than the other. And that really is all there is to it. I suppose I could mention that this is the body of it. Like I said, it's cast with those letters in there, and this is the sole. This wants to be as flat as physically possible so that it creates you a nice smooth finish. So we want to get rid of this rust. All of the rust I'm going to try and take off, definitely the cutting components, but also off of the chip breaker and the bottom of the lever cap. We're going to lightly sand everything. I'm going to give this a sharpen as best I can, hopefully get it nice and shaving sharp. Put everything back together, give it a brush off with I think probably the wire brush, because there's some pretty nasty old crud in here. Put it back together and we'll see what we can do with it. So you can stop listening to my voice now. Well, let's cut to a montage with some music. After all that, I think I will take this off so I can get to it. Get it on there a bit easier. Okay, I've sanded as much as I can physically tolerate, and I am now going to sharpen the plane iron. So I've got the chisel sharpening jig and the whetstone holder out. This is the plane side, this is for chisels, 25-degree block. So the chisel guide goes up to the plywood, the blade comes out and touches that block. That protrusion will put the correct angle on, and if you look there on the workbench, if you get down and get to that level, you should be able to see that bevel sat flat on the workbench. So all I'm going to do now, add the stone in soak, stick that in there, and do lots and lots of this. So I'm going all the way forward and then all the way back so that wheel just sits on the back there, using the whole length of the stone, and it's the perfect width as well. Okay, I've been at it for a little while. I've got a nice, hopefully new bevel on there, and it does somewhat even do paper, which is good. I would expect a knife to do that, so the fact that my plane iron does it as well is very good. So what I think I'm going to do now is give everything a quick final sand, because I've just had all this in a load of water, it will rust again, and probably also the chip breaker and the iron cap, or the, whatever it's called. Probably also give it a quick smear of oil as well, just to keep everything nice, and then we'll put it together and see if we can shave some wood with it. Well, I've put it back together, as you saw. I've got a bit of wood in the vise. Moment of truth, I guess. This is the first time I've done it. You can see I've not touched this bit of wood before. I think that'll do. So yeah, that's really good. I'm really happy with that. Yeah, really happy. I'm just gonna use the wheel and that yoke, pull that blade hopefully back inside the mouth of the plane, and then that way, when it's in storage, that blade isn't exposed and getting nicked and damaged. So that's lovely. I will now put it aside. That is ready for the project that's coming up in the next video. I hope you've enjoyed this one. Please do like and subscribe. We dropped below 69 again. We need to get way above that. Let's hit 100. We're still not yet, so please do hit like, share the videos, all that good stuff. Really happy with that. Woo! Nice. Yeah, I'll see you next time. Thank you very much for watching.